Hey guys, Dylan here. Now, a couple months ago, I made a top 10 Sonic fan fusions, and that video was covering really good fusions, and we had some excellent artwork in that video. Today, we're going to be doing the exact opposite of that. We are going to be looking at bad fan fusions. Now, I want to say this ahead of time because I know I'm going to get some slack for this video regardless, but I'm not trying to hate on the artist as a person. I just don't like the art they did, and I'm going to be criticizing it and making fun of it throughout this video. So for any of the artists whose art is featured in this video, if you want me to remove the link, you can comment down below and I'll remove the link. I just so happen to not like this artwork. So the first one we've got is a Cream the Rabbit and a Rouge fusion. And I don't like this because it makes it look like Cream the Rabbit, which is an underage character, is dressing slutty. Like, they didn't really give her anything extra. She has really small tits. She has no curves. She doesn't look like an adult. She looks like she's only a little bit taller or just wearing boots that make her look taller. Really, it's just very off-putting, and I don't want to meet the Sonic fans that would find this attractive. I don't like this fusion, and I feel like there's not enough Rouge attributes for it to be a proper fusion. It looks more like Cream the Rabbit is dressing up like Rouge the Bat instead of the two characters fused. But this being number 10, the artwork still looks decent. It's not terribly drawn. So let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is a Sonic and Shadow fusion. Now, this design isn't entirely bad. It kind of reminds me of Shattuck in some ways, but I think where it gets bad is the fact that they didn't try to fuse the shoes together. They just gave him Sonic shoes, and the fact that they took and gave him red lines on his legs. As far as I'm aware of, Shadow doesn't have red lines on his legs, and this ends up making it look more like an Attack on Titan Sonic than a Sonic Shadow fusion. I feel like there's just too much Sonic here, and the few bits of Shadow really doesn't help it at all. It just looks very off-putting. It looks like someone stripped him of his flesh, and that's his exposed, like, flesh underneath the skin. It's very off-putting, and I don't like this art at all. But overall, it's not the worst I've seen. And now for number 8, we have a Knuckles Rouge fusion. Now, I know this is a trend, but people like to fuse stuff with Rouge, and it doesn't always come out the best. Now, this has so many things wrong with it. I'm gonna try to be nice and not go too in-depth on why I don't like this artwork at all. 1, it looks like he's staring off into the void. 2, the ears aren't angled in the right way that Knuckles is, or Knuck Rouge is, so the ears look like they were just plastered on there, or they're fake. And I don't like that the shield, which I think it's a shield because he has a sword, so I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a shield. The shield doesn't look like it's being held by this Knuckle Rouge fusion. Instead, looks like it's plastered onto their fist. I don't know why they incorporated a sword anyway, because neither of them have anything to do with swords. They're both very, like, hand-to-hand fighters. You think they would have focused more on that instead, but yeah, the only real Rouge attributes here are they made his legs really long and they gave him wings. Other than that, this is just Knuckles in drag, and the artwork is creepy to stare at because he's not really looking at anyone, and you can't really tell what emotion he's expressing, if he even can feel. Number 7 is a Sonic and Amy fusion, and I just don't like the proportions of this one. I don't think the idea of a Sonic Amy fusion is terrible, and if they worked the streaks in a different way, like more of Shadow streaks, then this could have worked. But instead, they only have the pink highlights on the bangs and the little pieces of quill going down the face. If they would have worked in the pink more naturally, it would have really helped with this fusion. The hammer also looks too similar to Amy's hammer. I feel like you could have worked more Sonic colors into that, like maybe make the hammer like multicolored. I don't know. I just don't like the look of the hammer. I don't like how short the hammer is. I don't like how stiff this character is. I like that they mixed Sonic and Amy's boots together. That's pretty clever. I don't like that they gave this character both the Sonic cufflinks and the Amy cufflinks. I think just the Amy ones would have worked. And I guess my biggest problem with this artwork is the fact that it looks like movie Sonic. The proportions make me think of movie Sonic, and if you just separated the eyes, you'd see exactly what I meant by it. So let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is one I actually really like, but I can't admit that it's good. That is a Tails and Knuckles fusion. Now, this fusion is very weird. It is obviously drawn by what I think is a child. The colors don't even really go all over the character, like near the chest, they just forgot to draw or color that in at all. But overall, I like the idea of a Knuckles Tails. Like, I like that he's tall, I like that he's buff, I like that he tried working in some Knuckles attributes like the long quills in the back and the knuckles on his gloves. But overall, this looks more like a bear than it does a fox or an echidna. It's very weird, and if it wasn't for how childish the art was, it could actually be decent. I'm curious why his arms are so short though. If someone wants to redo this artwork, I would really love to see this because it's an interesting design. It's just not the best drawn. So let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is just terrible. I can't say anything else about it. It is a Sonic and Shadow fusion, and they decided to make it the worst thing ever. It looks like Ashura if Ashura was black and blue instead of black and green. Sonic's eyes look like he has a lazy eye, and they're looking dead set at the ground, and I don't know what the fuck he's looking at. And I think the thing that makes this worse than all of it, it's obviously traced. It's Sonic Adventure 2 artwork that they traced over to make this, and then they just colored splashed it together. They didn't even make his face a cream color. This is really lazy, obviously traced, and just bad artwork altogether. So let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is a special type of abomination. It is a Sonia and Espio fusion. And this one looks like it wants me to put it out of its misery. It looks like it's practically about to T-pose. It looks like someone's model that they aren't currently using. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. I don't like that the ears are a different color than the flesh. I don't like that the hair looks so unnatural on this character. Nothing about this character flows. Like, the colors don't blend well together. There's like so many different shades of pink and purple here. They gave the character heterochromia, which makes him very special. They made the muzzle too big. They made the head so big it looks like the character is gonna fall over. Nothing about this character looks pleasant to me. Nothing looks appealing to me. It's just really, really bad. And I can't go on talking about it because the more I nitpick it, the more I feel like I'm driving myself insane. I don't know why they decided to make Espio's horn this thing's nose, but it's just all unpleasant to look at. So let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is yet again another Sonic Amy fusion, and this one is bad in its own unique ways. Let's start with the head spikes. They tried to mix Sonic's quills with Amy's quills, but instead of it looking natural, it just looks like he's a shark. They should have made the quills flow down like long hair, like Amy's quills, or maybe just shaped differently because it doesn't look like a hedgehog. It looks like a shark character. And secondly, I can't tell if this character has abs or if it has very square looking tits. I guess the shape of the hand is weird and off-putting. I don't like it. The body has no like the leg. Look at the leg. The leg is perfectly square. It's not noodly like Sonic's legs are. The character looks like they're really stout, and I can't tell if it's supposed to be a male or a female, and it's really bothering me. Yet again, this character has too big of a head. Its eyes are too big. Its eyes are too separated. It looks like the result of inbreeding. I don't like this artwork. The only compliment I can give it is the fact that they decided to make it purple because pink and blue make purple now. So I guess I like it for that and that alone. And now, number 2, Sonickles. I really like Sonickles, and I don't care if that's how you say it. I'm saying Sonickles. This is a Sonic and Knuckles fusion. They decided to make him orange and have stripes going down him like Shadow the Hedgehog, which I do like because I think that a fusion would incorporate the character characters' likenesses together. I don't know why they gave him green shoes. That's very weird, but he has the Lego pieces from Knuckles. They just completely fucked up on the hands. Both of the hands are just completely fucked. They messed up on the arm, so they erased it, but they didn't erase it good enough to where I can't still see it. I like the shape of the quills, and yet again, this is a decent idea for a fusion, but because it was drawn by someone who doesn't know how to draw, it's poor looking. The muzzle's too long, the head is misshapen, the torso goes too far down, the legs are too short and stubby, the feet, I don't even know how they're connecting together, but they are. It's just a bad design because of who was drawing it, and I think if someone did a redesign of this, it could actually turn out decent. But yeah, now since you've seen all of them, let's go to the grand finale, number 1. Number 1 is the worst thing I've ever seen ever involving Sonic fusions. Let's start with the fingers. Why are his fingers two perfect squares? Why does this look like it's traced from multiple Sonic fucking character creators? Why does this look like Silver is dying on the inside, if you couldn't tell? I don't know what's nice to say about this. I have no pleasant things to say about this at all. I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it. And it might be a triple fusion. I could be wrong, and it could be a triple fusion, because that does kind of look like the soap shoes he's wearing, and he does have like the pale chest like Sonic, but I don't really care. I don't really care if I broke my own rules from the last video, because you can't convince me otherwise that this isn't the worst thing you've ever seen. You can see the pencil lines all over him. You can see that they couldn't even be fucked to draw an outline to cover that up. It looks like he has a twitch. They didn't draw gleams in his eyes, so it looks like he's a psychopath. This is the worst fusion I've ever seen, and I don't think I'll ever be convinced otherwise. In the other following bad fusions videos, whatever is at number 1, I can guarantee you is not worse than this thing. I want to give a little bit of a competition to see if people can do this. There's no prize, it's just getting your artwork featured in the video. Halloween is coming up, and I want to try to do a Halloween fusions video before we get to Halloween. So if you guys can make some creepy looking fusions, then I'll feature it in a future video. Now, I would prefer if you mixed like villains together, because those will probably come out creepier. Just try to take creepy aspects of the Sonic universe and mix it together. I'm sure you guys can give me something good, but if you guys end up not giving me enough artwork to work with before that date, then I guess I'll just scrap that idea. I hope to see you guys on Halloween, because I would love to do a follow-up video on this. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, hit the like button. If you really like this video, then share it. And if you want to see more, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye. Before the credits roll, I thought I'd take a second to talk to you guys about my Patreon. If you want to help keep the channel going and prevent it from going under when YouTube decides to randomly demonetize my videos, or when a nutcase like GamerGuy decides to strike my channel, making me lose money off of my streams, you can go back my Patreon. Benefits include being a producer, which means you get all the credits at the end of the videos. You can recommend quickie articles, which means that articles you want covered are more likely to happen sooner. You can request me to review a comic book of your choice, or you can even come on to be a guest reader for the fanfiction series. My Patreon is linked in the description below, and it's also in the About section on my YouTube. Hope to see you guys there.
You know me, the fighting freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? I ain't gonna let it get to me. I'm just gonna creep down in Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my little speed. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys,